general format of how each day will go, we will start out with a warm-up section, about 5 to 7 minutes long. Before that, I want you guys to give me 10 diaphragmatic or deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. And then I want 10 deep breaths with I'm just gonna call it right now a focus on your pelvic floor. So you know that when you inhale, it relaxes, and then when you exhale, it should raise back up. But for right now, this week, I just want you guys to pay attention and see if you can get any lift in your pelvic floor, okay? So sometimes it may be hard to even kind of feel that in the beginning, and that's why it's a process, okay? So go ahead, we'll do our warm-up. Again, that's 2 rounds of a general range of motion, get your heart pumping. Then at the very end of that, I want you to do a 90-90 flow, okay? The 90-90 transition, it'll have a link on the True Coach app. And at the very end of that, you're just gonna give me 10 where you lean back in transition, okay? And then 10 where you lean over that front leg in transition. And then 10 where you actually do a hip extension. You drive both knees into the ground and rise up if you're able, okay? So if not, just stick with 10 more regular transitions, okay? So that finishes your warm-up at the very end, and then we're gonna move on to the activation part, okay, which is all with your resistance band, okay? Or if you have mini bands and you're trying those out for right now, put one above your knee and one below your knee, okay? That activation part isn't to feel the burn, it's just to say good morning to your glutes, okay? To start to turn those on. After that, let's see, that'll take about 5 minutes or less for that activation part. You're just making that mind-muscle connection, okay? You'll hear me say this quite a few times, and you can put the focus or make that connection. But it sounds funny, but the more you flex your glutes, the more you just know where they are, and the better it is. It actually strengthens them minutely as we go, okay? So always make that mind-muscle connection, but especially in this activation portion, okay? After that, we get into the lift section, okay? Most of the time, it's gonna be a 2-part series. We'll do 2 different movements, okay? Sometimes antagonist, sometimes similar, you know, muscle groups that we'll be working, or different muscle groups. But for tomorrow, we're gonna be doing the dumbbell hip thrust, okay? And then the curtsy lunges. So I'm just gonna go over a couple things real quick on our positioning for the hip thrust, okay? Because this is huge as far as keeping good form and not overusing your lower back, okay? So we've got a dumbbell and a sandbag, and if you don't have a sandbag and you're taller, you could probably use a low box, 18 to 20 inches. If you're shorter like myself, you can probably use something 16 to 12 inches, okay? Use a towel if you don't have a soft object. Over top of that corner would be best. So from here, you're going to not just the top of your shoulders. A lot of people kind of stay low on their bench or their box. I want you to try to get up on top, okay, right about your bra line, high on that bench, okay? So from here, if you're doing a double leg, you're going to keep your chin tucked, okay? And that's just gonna help us keep our ribs down. So I don't wanna see anybody thrusting with their ribs high or overshooting their hips, okay? That's just gonna put more quad dominance in here, and it's gonna take out the glutes. So from here, you're gonna inhale, exhale, then lift, okay? And really think about that squeeze for a second at the top, okay? And then to add a dumbbell on this, we're going to put that across your hips and then bring your feet in. Another thing I want you to do, your feet are slightly turned out like an air squat, okay? And then at the top, your shins should be vertical. So inhale, and then exhale and start to work. Chin down, ribs down. And that is the hip thrust, okay? Next up, you've got weighted curtsy lunges, okay? Both toes forward, and you're going to keep that shin vertical in the front, and then come to a stand, and then repeat on that leg, okay? Knee over heel, not directly, but don't let it shoot in front of that toe. Knee in line with your heel, and that back knee is underneath that hip for those curtsy lunges. All right, after that section, we have what's called the burn. Sometimes the lift and the burn will be together, but mostly they'll be separate. So the burn part for tomorrow is going to be a kettlebell swing, or if you don't have a kettlebell, you can use your dumbbell, okay? And a lot of times you see people swing with all of their arms. And going back to that mind-muscle connection, I want you to squeeze your glutes, and that's all I want you to think about, okay? That's it. So it doesn't matter how high you get the weight. I just want you to come to extension hard with your glutes. So it looks like this, okay? You're going to come here, squeeze hard, and blow. Squeeze hard at the top each time for that swing, okay? It's a death by. So we have minute number 1, you've got 1 Russian swing. You can use a kettlebell or a dumbbell. Minute 2, we've got quick step downs, okay? So if you have a tall box, I used a 20-inch box for these last time. You're going to stand on top of that box or step or whatever you have, and on that same leg, you're gonna step down for however many reps you're on. So minute 1 is gonna be 1 per side. Minute 4 will look like this, all right? It's gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. Other side, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the last movement for that death by is plank kick through with a lift. All right, probably never seen this one before, so I'll go ahead and show you that you're going to be in a plank position, okay? And in this position, make sure you're not tilted. Make sure you keep that neutral spine, squeeze your glutes. You can have a little bit of a posterior tilt here, but make sure your butt's tight, core's tight. Kick through, all right, and then heel lift, okay? Go back to plank, kick through, and then heel lift. Keep that foot parallel to the floor, okay? Again, that's 1 rep per side on each minute. So minute 4 will be 4 lifts on each side. So it's a death by. You got minute 1, 1 swing, 1 step down per side. Minute 2, and then the 1 kick through on the plank. Minute 2, 2 swings, 2 step downs per side, and then 2 heel lifts per side on the plank. All right, after that, you're gonna rest for 2 minutes, and then you're gonna give me 3 rounds of seated abduction, okay? I've got a link for this movement, but I want you to take your resistance band. It's gonna be around your thighs, so right above that knee. And you've got 3 rounds of 20 where you're leaning forwards, 20 where your torso is vertical, 20, and then 20 where you're leaning back, okay? Make sure you don't see any coning here. If you're recently postpartum, you may not want to lean back at all. Just do 20 more, just do 30 and 30, okay? So again, feet on that is going to be, you're gonna roll out to the outer heel edges of your feet, okay? If you need a little bit more tension, tighten this up. So again, 20 leaning forward as much as you can, 20 with a tall torso, 20 leaning back. Then you've got that relaxed portion. Final thing, you're going to 90 seconds, you're gonna deep breathe. Okay, don't worry about a contraction. You're just gonna breathe deeply in through that nose and then out through that mouth in that happy baby position, okay? This movement is great for the pelvic floor to really relax, lengthen, so that you can contract fully when the time. All right, peace out, guys. Let me know how it goes.